64-bit legends. Welcome.
Legend of the game, like GoldenEye, I'm more than right.
Yeah.
The perfect dark is dreams that seem to come to life. 64-bit, the shit, it's as real as it
Yeah.
gets. We can talk sports, games, and music, take your pick. Point with the news, pull up and crack a brew. Smoke one with the crew, tune in and take a view.
Watch.
We here to raise the bar from the lowest mark. Sit your ass down and listen, it's time for the show to start.
Hello, young chaps, and welcome to another episode of the 64-Bit Legends. I am the best in the business, Bobby Caboose. As always, looking for that hot tag is Melvin Troy.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's go. We're excited today. We have a little bit more energy than last week,
Yeah,
as you can tell.
kind of. We can get this. I think this episode we may be able to get this on NPR. I think this will be
Right.
perfect. It's really fitting the tone,
It's perfect.
the NPR tone. No, this week is all about talk. Okay, so here's just to bring everybody up to speed. I'm pretty hungover right now.
Yeah.
I didn't get home until probably 8 a.m. this morning.
So
It's now 4 in the afternoon.
we were talking last week, the ship's bitch, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about Dom sleeping with my mom and
Yeah.
and stupid shit that people do when they're drunk, right? So I did just think of this, and I wanted to bring it up before we get into more of today's topic. But we talked about like how or at least I do, and I'm sure you do too. Like you don't want people to have to take care of you when you're drunk, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a liability for someone. You don't want to make the other people's experience poor if you guys are doing something or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought of something
Okay.
after that we recorded that episode about you,
Okay.
and there was an incident. I believe it was New Year's Eve.
Okay.
You threw up in my mom's car
Oh yeah, that's right.
and didn't tell anyone.
Well, I probably didn't.
Well,
I probably didn't remember to tell anyone.
You started throwing up in the back seat of the car. Then my mom pulled over.
Yeah.
You threw up outside.
Yeah.
We didn't know that there was any puke in the car, and my mom found it like 2 days later, frozen.
Well, at least it was frozen.
Yeah.
Because then you could just chip it out.
Yeah.
It'd be worse if it was in the middle of summer.
Right.
So that was.
That'd be like a moose grenade.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what a moose grenade is?
What? You just leave some shit in someone's car?
Scott Cates
Yeah.
told me about the moose grenade. I guess so. You mix milk and orange juice.
I remember this. Yeah.
In a 20-ounce bottle, right? And for some reason, I don't know if it's like the citric acid or what, but it doesn't mix with the milk right.
Yeah.
So you put it in somebody's car. I mean, if you want to be a fucking dick, you put it in someone's car, like under their seat when it's hot out, and the fucking bottle will expand to almost a 2-liter and then explode. Oh, wow. And I guess it fucking reeks. I can imagine with the fucking milk. So, but yeah, you learn something new every day, audience.
Yeah. If it was
do it to your enemies.
Was that the year where we went? That was on New Year's.
We went to Hamlin.
Yeah.
And we all blacked out at the same time.
Yeah.
Because so we did one of the deals that we usually do. Like you pay up front, but they were giving us doubles.
Yeah.
And I remember like big beautiful B was with us, and the waitress goes, B, there was about that much left in the probably a good solid like 3 shots left of the vodka bottle, and she just poured the rest of it in his drink. And then I remember the ball dropping, and then about 12:15, I believe, like all 3 of us blacked out at the same time.
Oh yeah. That one was pretty intense. And yeah, I do remember though hearing about it after, because I don't recall throwing up. I just remember you guys telling me that, and I believed it because of how I felt the next day. But yeah, what probably happened is she probably pulled over. I puked, but there was probably like a residual effect, like
I
a
remember,
trickle effect
I remember
coming back
you
in.
just slapping my arm, and like because I'm pretty sure your mouth was full.
Oh man, so maybe I might have missed.
And
an initial...
I was like, "Ma, you gotta pull over."
Yeah,
and she pulled over in the gas station, and you threw up everywhere. But that story just reminded, like, I remembered it after the fact because we were talking about my mom. We were talking about Dom sleeping with her. We were talking about being drunk around her. So it's classic Melvin Troy.
Well,
When you say classic Melvin Troy, like, you know, it's like that, or when you were like crawling downstairs to get to your room.
that was probably the same night.
I think it was.
That was probably the same thing, because there was one night though. This is when I was a lot heavier. I'll never forget. It was with Nate was over. It might have been New Year's actually, a different New Year's, or maybe something else. But he was staying over because we had been drinking like, for a lot, and at the time I was a lot heavier, so I could take on more booze, and I literally went shot for shot. I remember pulling out just random shit in our cabinet, like Old Crow whiskey and shit. I was like, let's do shot for shot. And I won, technically. I went downstairs. He went to sleep on the couch in the living room. And then about 10 minutes later, I ran back upstairs
to throw up.
In the thing. But I remember I didn't black out. I was slightly proud of that, but then I also was like, I gotta make some changes in my life. This is not. This is not what I need.
Didn't you see like when you said you had to make changes and start keto and shit? Didn't you see like a video of yourself like swim walking or some shit?
I was doing the you know, in Chappelle's show, there's always that guy doing the robot.
Yes.
Yeah, I was doing that somewhere and it was in a Snapchat or something of yours, and
I think it was at maybe
it was Madison's. Yeah.
Madison's, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
so,
gonna say Madison Heights, but yeah, Madison's.
And because it's interesting where your brain will kind of delude you because you see yourself every day, like your reflection every day, typically. So you don't notice the changes over time until you something like that, like you're in a picture, and because I'm not the type that does like a bunch of selfies or group photos. Like I'm not a photo guy,
right?
And so I didn't notice, and then I was like, I just remember seeing myself, and I didn't recognize myself and it took me a minute, and I was like, wait a minute, I was like, oh my god, what happened? I'm a mess. So. Yeah, that was.
And then when my brother thought you were Kowalski, I think that was the
that was another one where I was like, oh man, I didn't know we look alike, and I was like, well, at that time, but no, today I'm a bit hungover. I just typically drink straight liquor. I don't do mixed drinks. Last night I probably did.
Well, you can do a couple club sodas, right?
Well, yeah. But what I mean is I don't do like anything with like sugar in it and things like that. So yeah, it's either water or liquor. That's pretty much it. And I don't know how many shots of tequila last night. Probably about 5, 6 ish. And then there was like
1800 or
various things. I think I did a couple 1800s. Somebody did pour what's the cheap one?
Cuervo?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think I did that.
Jose Cuervo?
Honestly, that went down smoother than everything else, oddly enough. Dude, it was like dirt cheap.
I am
the cheapest.
I've been off of a tequila kick. Remember we were doing shots of tequila a lot?
Yeah.
My new shot of choice for the time being is Jack Fire.
I like Jack Fire, but you just can't do a lot because it's got all the sugar in it. It's like Fireball. It's a cleaner Fireball. But
I don't like Fireball. Like I like Jack Fire and Jim Beam Fire.
Yeah,
but I've been on that kick.
Yeah, I think I prefer Jim Beam Fire. Mm-hmm. That one's the harder one to find.
That's the harder one to find. It's the smoothest.
Yeah. Oddly enough, because I know Jim Beam is typically the cheaper one, but I can just drink Jim Beam straight.
I was doing shots of Black Hoss the other day.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
It's I call it Hoss because it's spelled Haus.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's Black House or Black Hoss. It depends on who you fucking ask.
Yeah.
But it's basically a blackberry
Okay.
version of Rumpleman's.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's like
And if it's not chilled,
I bet it's disgusting.
fucking gross. But if
Yeah.
it's chilled, it's fine. But I did a couple shots of that last week with somebody that wanted to take them, so I'm like, whatever.
yeah. I will not. I hate Rumplemints.
Oh, Rumplemints is great. So Rumplemints,
I
have this theory about Rumplemints. I don't have a problem with it, but I am not a gay. Okay.
Okay.
I am a straight.
I thought you were gonna. There was another adjective you were gonna put in there, but okay. That's
No,
fine.
I am not a gay.
Okay.
I am a straight. But drinking Rumplemints is what I can imagine sucking off Santa would taste like.
Okay.
Like, I would never suck off Santa.
Yeah.
But if I did, I would think his jizz would taste like Rumplemints because it tastes
Okay.
like Christmas in your mouth.
Yeah.
And then if you ever put it in hot chocolate, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And that's like Kwanzaa
True.
in your mouth.
Okay.
Just saying. Try it.
I mean, I don't mind. I won't do Rumplemints for the. It's not because of the taste.
Right.
It's about the effect because there's.
Oh, it's a blackout in a glass.
It is. Every time I end up doing a Rumplemint, it's like, oh, this is gonna fuck my. Not only tonight, but tomorrow is gonna get fucked up.
I mean, like 3 weeks from Thursday might be fucked up from
Yeah.
Rumplemints.
But no, so I know how to pace myself with whiskey and tequila. Those are my go-tos. And last night I had a bit, and so it was a little. I mean, the last few days, if you're listening to this recently, you will probably were hanging out in one of my streams I did a few days ago. In particular, when we celebrated Cake-Horn Day. If you don't know what that is, you're just gonna have to go back and look at the footage.
As Mr. Winters used to say, look it up.
Yep, just look it up.
Look it up.
You're just gonna have to look it up and watch the footage. But I did have some shots that night, and we were up really late. I was up so late, and I got tired, and I DoorDashed a breakfast because it was like 5 in the morning.
Right.
No, it was 4:30 when I
And I
initially
can't
ordered
believe
it.
fucking people are doing DoorDash at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, dude. Well, because it's breakfast time. I mean, honestly, the people that are doing it are usually the professional people that like you can
That's their
tell.
living?
Yeah, like they know there's no competition.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get.
I wonder if
some money.
Surge do they do surge prices like Uber?
They don't. Not necessarily. I think what it is it like basically it's kind of like a bidding system where DoorDash will put it out and they'll just see who picks it up, and if nobody takes the order, then DoorDash will throw it back out with a higher price tag on it, and they'll just keep doing it
Gotcha.
until somebody gets it. And but the problem is that I had forgotten is this was Saturday morning. Well, we just had like that flash blizzard
Yeah.
that came out, so the roads weren't the best. It wasn't bad, honestly, because
It was bad at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
When I was driving home from work on Friday, I decided to go to White Castle
Yeah.
because I'm like, dude, the roads are getting bad. And I was like, what am I going to do tonight? So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take an edible, multiple edibles, and get high as fuck, and I'm going to want to eat later.
Yeah.
So I'm like, might as well get a crave case so I have food for later.
See, yeah. So I ordered this DoorDash thing, and it bounces around. Not only did it bounce around to different people because no one was available to get it,
Right.
it bounced to different restaurants. So it sent me from one restaurant that's literally down the road to another franchise that's like 5 miles away because the other one wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And it took so long, I ended up falling asleep before the delivery came. And then I
That's
was just
unfortunate.
out. And then I didn't wake up till like noon that day. And
So
then
how many hours? Oh, so you said you did this at like 4:30 at 5 in the
yeah,
morning?
so basically my food sat on my porch frozen for 6 hours. And then but
I don't know if that's worse or when you ordered the bad Brads and you saw the bag like 3 houses down on the other side of the street.
well that was their fault that time. That time
I know, but
yeah, this one was on me.
a little bit of apples and oranges, but
Yeah.
still, your DoorDash experiences aren't
Oh, they're the worst.
the best.
That's why I quit using it unless I'm drunk, and then I regret it. Because actually right now I'm recycling the same credits over and over again because they keep fucking up my shit. So
Right.
they just keep giving me refunds. Like I had Chipotle the other day. They sent me some dude named Ted ordered a giant order, way more than I just got like a little bowl.
Yeah.
This dude got burritos. He got a fucking quesadilla. So, of course, I got a refund on my shit because I'm like,
Right.
this isn't my order. But then I'm like, I'm not going to order anything else because something in here that Ted orders, I'm going to eat. So I start picking through it. And I took like a little bite. It was like a little sample. I took a little bite of the burrito. I was like, this isn't bad. But then you got a bunch of spice on it.
Right.
So I had like my whole kitchen counter was like laid out with different food of me sampling.
I was thinking you got like a kitchen bowl out and you're like, all right, let me chop this up and like just fucking
I should have
stick little
done that.
pieces of each thing in there.
Yeah. Anyway, but the reason I say all that is because today I'm feeling a little hungover. I've had some coffee. I'm drinking a Red Bull. I took some Excedrin. Drinking some water. Had some chicken nuggets.
I had a feeling I was gonna be hungover this morning. So late, like last night when I got home, I went to I was gonna say the pill cabinet to get some aspirin, and it's dark, and I'm like fucking put it in my hand. I think I took 6.
Oh Jesus!
I think they're low milligrams, but
the baby aspirin.
yeah,
Okay.
it was good for my heart.
It is good. Yeah.
But I took 6 of them, and I was like, I should be good in the morning. I gotta get up in 6 hours. So,
I figured it started making me think, how many times have we, I know this has happened to you and it's happened to everybody where you make a mistake and you overdrink and then you have to go do something the next day.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely miserable.
yep.
And there was, I made a small, even little list of examples. There was one actually that wasn't even on here that I talked about on the stream, so I won't spend too much time on it. We've actually maybe even talked about it on the podcast. There was the night that I was seeing that girl, and she's the one that went through my phone.
Yes.
And then seen
the bot.
spam messages and thought they were real.
Yeah.
So, long story short, I had the bot spam messages on the Google. This was like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So it was like,
I think the episode's called "What Is Love" or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's in the archives.
So it was like just a Google messaging thing, and it's the bots, just kind of like how Snapchat, you get all the bots
Yeah.
now. And
I get someone adding me every fucking day on Snapchat.
yeah, so it was like that, but she thought that it was like a real person. She's like, who's Susanna? Anyway, so I got fucked up. I was thinking I was going to stay there. Instead, I had to drive home in a blizzard while texting.
That's the best time to drive home. Fuck it up though.
Yeah,
is
sure.
during a blizzard because you can go as slow as you want, and it could just be road conditions.
Now, it probably wasn't smart, though, that I was angry texting while I was driving in said blizzard. But I did that. But then I had to go film a music video the next day for a company that I was supposed to be leaving. And it was probably one of the most miserable experiences. Because number one, I'm just super hungover.
Yep.
Second of all, I'm heartbroken.
Yep.
Third of all, I'm doing a job that I don't want to do. But in the end, and I talk about this on the stream too, it did work itself out. It was a nice therapy session because by the end of that weekend of doing that video, I had completely moved on emotionally from all those things.
Yeah. Because you became sober
Well, there's that
and
too.
your hangover went away,
That too.
and the bots were still there.
But there was one instance too. That,
You mentioned the gathering of the Juggalos last week.
yeah.
With the chicken suit.
Oh yeah,
the wolf
that's
suit.
right. Yeah, that one was another one where it squeezed all the booze out of me.
Yeah.
There was one time though, and we've talked about this too. There's the episode. Go listen to the episode, Rapper's Delight.
Yes.
That episode,
With T the Monster and Tim Black.
I am high as fuck on that. Like,
And they're talking about conspiracy theories and shit. Like there's a dome over the fucking earth.
there was a delayed edible from the night before that just kicked in right before they showed up. And I'm fucking, I remember being in the bathroom and being like, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Dude.
How am I going to
So-
get through this?
I will. Speaking of the high shit, remember? I think it was Nick that gave you the Rice Krispies.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So
Yeah.
I remember you gave me a piece, and
The
this
weed
was
ones, yeah.
This was after the bar, right? when we were living at the old house, and I was like, hey man, you got any edibles or anything? And you're like, try this. So I take it. It was strong as fuck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I wake up and I took it just to go to sleep. I think it might have been a Rams horn night too, so it might have been like 2-3 in the morning when maybe even later. So I take it, and the next morning I had to take my car into the shop. Like it was I forget what I was getting done to it. It was something was wrong with it, so I'm high as fuck, and I had to go to Enterprise Rent-A-Car to get a car because my insurance covered the car, and so I'm in the lobby high as fuck, dude. Like my eyes are like the color of like a red Solo cup.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm getting my car, getting a rental, that is.
Yeah.
And the guy is talking to me, and he goes, "Do you want to put the extra insurance on it?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think I'll need it, you know." So he goes, "Okay, but he's like, you look like a good driver, but I do need to tell you this story. This lady, it was an older lady. I think he said she was like in her 80s, who rented this car, said no to the insurance, pulled out on the M59 and like totaled the car, like got like rear-ended, like right when she pulled out, where they could see it from the office."
Yeah.
I'm high as fuck, by the way, so now I'm super paranoid, and like I can drive drunk, like I'm a fucking master at driving drunk, right? It's not something that I should be proud of, but I kind of am. But driving high, dude, is a whole nother ball game.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's a fucking. Speaking of, I got something similar to that. So speaking of Nick, we were doing radio one night, and before we left, we stopped by one of the other studios.
Oh, I know. You told me this, the White Knuckle.
Yeah, so we stopped by one of the other studios. We run into somebody that was working in said studio, and he had a dab rig. And I'd never done dabs at this point.
With the torch, right?
Yeah. So he was like, I was like, well, what is this? I mean, I've seen it, but I was like, I'll try it, but I don't know, like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, you just do one hit, and that's all you're going to need. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm heading out anyway. So my thought process is, this will be perfect. I'll do this. I got about a 30-minute drive home. It'll probably kick in. I'm just thinking it'll kind of ease in like a joint would.
Yeah.
You just kind of ease in, and by the time I get home, I'll be feeling good, and I go straight to bed.
Right.
Whatever, chill. That's not what happens. And I'm not a smoker,
right,
at all. So my throat can't handle any of that stuff. So I take the hit on it, and I'm just choking. I'm like, I remember it made me want to throw up.
Right.
And then I'm standing there for a minute, and I could just feel it already creeping in within like a minute or two.
And you're like, fuck, I gotta go.
Yeah. So I honestly just tell those guys, I'm like, hey guys, I gotta leave. I'm getting too high. I just tell them, I was like, I gotta go. So I get in the car and I go down. It's a quarter mile down the road. There's a red light, and I got to make a left-hand turn on. And if I tell you, that is the longest stoplight that I've ever sat in my life, because all of a sudden it's all creeping in. I'm like, this is gonna be rough. So I finally get my way to the freeway, because once I'm there, I'm like, all right, this is back where we used to live. So basically, I get on the freeway.
All freeway.
It's all freeway, and then our house was right off of the freeway.
It's half a mile off the freeway.
Yeah, so it was like a super easy drive to do, but I'm having to white knuckle it to stay in the lane because I'm paranoid I'm going to drift off. I'm driving. My phone is going off. Nick's calling me on my phone, and it's just blowing up. I'm like, oh, my brain's starting to make up scenarios. I'm like, what if he's broken down? What if he's in an emergency? He must be calling me because he's got an emergency. He's calling me because he's high as fuck now too, but then on top of that, he went to the gas station to get gas, and while he was doing that, someone came up to him and essentially was talking. They pull up in a van. They're talking about their van, and for some reason they get in a conversation. I don't remember exactly why, where they're showing him their van.
Was there candy in there?
It was almost like one of those scenarios. He thought he was, and eventually he gets weirded out. He's like, are they trying to abduct me?
Right.
Then the guy that he's talking to goes into the gas station store, and then the woman in the van is saying, like basically saying that she's being held captive or something. And he is just, or she didn't say that specifically, but he said he got the vibe that that's what was happening. So he was like freaking out. He had to get the fuck out of there. And he called me on his drive back, and I'm like white knuckling it, trying to be like, I'm listening to this. This is crazy. I'm also trying to be on the road to get home. And I sit outside of the house once I park.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to get off the phone anymore because I'm just so high and I'm so blown away at this story. That was probably one of the worst weed experiences of my life.
So
that was terrible.
It reminded me, there's a Family Guy episode where Peter reminisces when he's a kid, and this guy pulls up in a van with no windows, right? And he's like, "Hey, I got some free candy," and Peter goes, "Oh, I was told not to talk to strangers."
Yeah.
So the next day in the newspaper, it goes, kid gets free candy, and like it's a free candy for life giveaway.
Yeah.
And then so the next time someone comes up and in a van like that, Peter he goes, "Hey, kid, do you want to eat candy?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." So he gets in the van, and the next day the newspaper says, "Kid gets molested in van, gets no candy." but yeah, so I had taken we used to bowl on Friday nights. Now I'm just hungover on Sunday mornings when I fuck up these kids at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
So I'm hungover,
destroying them.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. So we I'm used to being hungover or still drunk on Sunday mornings, but we used to bowl on Friday nights, and we never took it too serious. It would be like more of a pregame to what we were doing for the night. So one night, a couple guys that we were cool with on another team made brownies. Okay. And so I took a weed brownie, and it started really kicking in by the third game, and I bowled like a 90, which is not good. It was like, it was probably the worst game in that league that year, or maybe ever.
So there's like 10-year-olds that were kicking your ass.
No. This was a men's league.
Oh, okay.
Friday night men's league, and I bowled a 90.
So it's more embarrassing.
Yes. And so I'm like, dude, I gotta go. So leave the bowling alley, white knuckle it all the way home.
Yeah.
Get home. I lay on the couch, and I put the TV on, and I was like, all right, just flipping through. Pistons were on. So I put the Pistons game on, and I'm laying there, and all I can move is my eyes. And I'm like, fuck, man. And I was like, I wonder if the door is locked, because if it's not, if someone comes in, like, they could murder me, and I couldn't do anything because I'm just sitting there and I can't move. And I was like thinking, like, if a robber comes in, I can be like, look, man, just don't hurt me. I can't move. And because I could only move my eyes. So the Pistons go into like the fifth overtime. It was fucking something crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm high, and I'm like, this can't be real. So Kowalski comes home.
Yeah.
He walks in, and I go, hey, man, what's on the TV right now? And he goes, holy shit, the Pistons are in the fifth overtime. I go, thank God. He's like, what do you mean? I go, because I'm high as fuck, and I didn't know if I was just looking at a blank screen making this shit up.
Yeah, there's weed can really hijack your day. I this reminded me actually, somebody that we know, his brother.
Okay.
We'll call him Bill.
All right.
His brother Bill. But back in the day, he used to go with me to CD hunting.
Yeah.
Back when
okay.
CDs were
all
a
right.
thing. And we would go down to all the record stores down on like Gratiot and shit and try to go pick up CDs.
Pick me up. I'll smoke you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly.
Yeah, I've been in that same car.
Yeah.
Or he's been in my car.
It was in this story it was my car.
It wasn't the Lexus.
Because we would take road. I mean, we did this for like a few months. We would, because you got to get up early.
Yep.
Because all the shit would get sold out. And you want to get like the rare shit. And I got some good CDs. I got like Eminem's what is that? Not Infinite, the one right after Slim Shady EP before he got signed with Dre, and I got some old like they're terrible albums, but it was kind of cool to collect them, like these old Kid Rock albums before he popped off, and Esham, things like that. So we would go. So he was at this age, I didn't know how to smoke weed. It was usually like there's a party and you just smoke. The idea is you just smoke it till it's gone.
Yep.
Which isn't the move, really. I mean, for me, it's not the move. It just, I just don't. I'm an Elon Musk smoker. Just give me a hit and I'm good. Just give me the one.
Now I'm getting to the point where I gotta smoke it till it's gone.
No,
like a blunt. Like I smoke a whole blunt, or usually I try to stop at half.
Yeah,
but then I'm like, let's just get more high.
Like, no, that's too much for me. And so he, I pick him up and he's like, oh, we're gonna go smoke. We smoked the whole thing. And I just remember I'm in one of the stores flipping through the CDs, and I'm just all of a sudden like everything kind of just high mode kicks in, kind of just focused, and everything's kind of like slowed down a little bit, and I'm just like, oh shit. And now I got to drive. And we went to a couple records, and I was like, okay, I got a goal right now. I could focus. I don't mind being awkward with this dude because he's already weird on his own. So it's like whatever. His weird is gonna counteract my weird. Like it'll work itself out. But then I get a call from my dad about a trip that we're about to take, and so where
were you going?
Vegas. So
Nice.
It was like a Vegas trip, and I get a call and I unwisely answer it because now I can't figure out a way to get off the phone.
Right.
Like I just have to eventually have to awkwardly get off. But then I'm stuck on the phone, and now I'm driving on the phone with
Before Bluetooth.
This is a flip phone.
Yeah, so you're not hands free.
No, not at all. And I'm driving. I got Bill next to me. Now he's getting paranoid because I'm driving high on the phone. We go, and then, but the thing is it kept coming in waves. I kept getting higher as the day went on. It was fucking ridiculous. I remember I blew. At one point, I zoned out. I got so high, I zoned out. I was on Crash It, and I blew through a red light. I just blew
Bill
through
was
it.
probably like, what the fuck are you doing?
He literally, this is the scariest thing is people don't know, unfortunately, but you'll know. He made the face. He looked at me. He's like, bro, what are you doing? And I was like, what? He's like, that was a red light. I was like, oh, I didn't even know. And then I almost ran over some Asian guy at Circuit City.
I wish I could say the way he said my name.
Oh yeah,
it would be great, but I can't. But
yeah, that was I just remember we went and did that. I drive him off. I go back home. I was still living with my parents, and I go straight to my room and I just go to bed. I'm just like, I gotta sleep this off,
dude. So I go to Brown's house.
Yeah,
right. We're going to go play basketball, and I see Bill walking.
Yeah,
and Bill comes up to my car, and he's like, I want to say it so bad. But he's like, let's go for a ride, man. And I'm like, all right. So he gets in my car, and we're just riding around the neighborhood and smoking. And I'm like, oh, I drop him. I go back to Brown's house. I drop him off because he lives down the road. And Bill walks away, and I go to Brown's house, and I knock on the door, and Brown answers.
Yeah, and by the way, we're teenagers at this time.
Yes, yeah. We're probably this is probably after we graduated, before the summer before freshman college.
Got it. Yeah.
So our friends didn't go away yet, and whatever. And so Brown, I go into Brown's house, and I'm standing there, and Brown's like, I gotta get my basketball shorts on or whatever. So he goes upstairs, and I'm like standing in the kitchen like awkwardly, and his dad's just staring at me. And Brown comes in, and I think he had to eat something or something. Like we were there for like maybe 20 minutes, and Brown sits down to eat, and like I'm standing next to the kitchen table, but I'm not sitting down with him, and I don't know why. And he's like, he just looks at me, he's like, dude, you can sit down. And I was like, oh. And I like slowly took the chair out and slowly sat down so I wouldn't fall. And his dad was like reading the newspaper with like his legs crossed like this and just put the newspaper down and just stared at me the entire time. And then we left and played basketball. And Brown's like, what's wrong with you, man? I go, Bill just smoked me out. And I'm fucking high as fuck. And your dad was freaking me out.
Yeah, that was a common thing.
I mean, at least I wasn't Noster eating ice cream out of the carton at Brown's house, and his dad was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And Noster was like, "Well, I was gonna finish it." He's like, "You better finish it now. Don't put it back." So fucking dumb.
Oh my god, dude! The parents in that neighborhood. If you were unwise enough to invite anybody over, they just terrorized your fucking home.
Whether it was Kevin's, the Josh and Jake's, Brown's, whatever, dude. The only one was Tom's, the party at Tom's.
Oh yeah,
him kicked out of his house permanently. Right after he got expelled.
Box humper.
What the fuck?
That's a story on its own. That one we're going to have to sit. I don't know if we've ever actually told the box humper stories.
I don't think so.
We're going to have to sit down and kind of iron out what we could say and what we can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just, so to go back to the topic at hand, just getting too fucked up and having to deal with it. I mean, there was one time, I've kind of told part of this story. So there was a period of time where I was working at a Target just temporarily.
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Yeah, well, there's another piece to this.
Okay.
That'll give it a little bit more context. So I had gone and I had to start like 3:45 in the morning.
Yep.
So what I would do is
stock boy.
Yep, I would. It was brainless, so you could do it hungover. And so I remember there was a number of times I would go drink, I'd come home, maybe take a nap. Like I can do a nap. If I could 45 minutes, I could do 45 minutes, wake up. It sucks, but I could do it.
Right.
And it'll give me a little bit of a boost. I'd eat something and drive in. But I remember one of the worst times though I did this. I remember I was standing there and one of the jobs was you just unload the truck and you sort stuff and put them on their pallets.
Like U-boats or pallets, yeah.
And then you just bring them out to the floor and stock it. I remember doing this, and I unwisely was like, oh, I'll just do the stuff that's big because that means my pallet will get filled and I can just take it out and I can start working it. So it was all like laundry, detergent, cleaners. The problem is like one of the cases of like fabric softener busted open. So now I'm standing in this strong fabric softener smell.
Aroma.
And I'm like hungover, I'm hungry, I'm nauseous. I'm just like, it was the most miserable thing.
That'll give you a headache by itself.
Oh, dude, it was so bad. And my hands now are all like greasy because it spills everywhere.
This seems like a nightmare.
It was the worst. And so that was the last time I showed up to do that hungover. And that's why the night that I got fucked up and I just puked in my garbage bucket in my room and quit. Because I knew I was like, number one, I was like, there's no way I can even drag myself in to do this. Let alone if I have to fucking deal with that.
Yeah,
I would rather just quit.
You're right.
That's what I chose to do. That was the one time. I'm usually pretty good about if I make a commitment and I'm fucked up, I will still show up regardless.
Yeah,
and there was so this was back when I did sales. There was a corporate party that they did for Christmas.
Yeah.
And we got out. The sales team I was on was performing well. And this is over the phone sales, mortgage related. And we had done well, so we got to leave early.
Right.
We were let out to go. I think we were able to leave at probably 2 in the afternoon. And there was the company party that night at one of the bars downtown. It
Yeah.
was a nice party. It was like this new bar. I don't even think it exists anymore, unfortunately. But it was like this new bar where it had like multiple levels. It had this huge bowling alley, all brand new. Had games everywhere. Drinks, of course, were on the house. Whatever. Well, beforehand, one of the people on my sales team was gifted because we gave people on our team gifts.
Yeah.
You know, like a Secret Santa type thing. He had gotten a fifth of Tito's.
Okay.
And so me and him hung out. We were like, well, why don't we just go hang out at this other dude's apartment downtown and wait
Right.
for the party? We drank between me, him, and this other dude, went through that whole fifth of Tito's before the company party.
Nice.
I show up at the company party. This girl standing. Now keep in mind, though, this is a company. It's a very young company.
Yeah.
Think
Think Big Red.
Yes.
Was it Big Red?
No. But this is for the listener, to give you the understanding of like the environment, kind of think like the Wolf of Wall Street
gonna say
light.
that, yes.
Like a light version of that. So there is a lot of like craziness, but it's not so over the top.
Ba-dum.
Yeah. It's not that crazy.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Caw!
Yeah. So I get to the party, and this girl's there checking everybody in to give you because they have to ID people, because some there are interns and shit.
Right.
So this to give you the wristband to get in and to show that, hey, you got free drinks for the night.
Did any of the interns clean their fishbowl on New Issue Day?
No,
Okay.
no, they did not. So, but this girl was there, and she had one of those low cut dresses on, and her tits were hanging out.
Yeah.
And I said the line from Eastbound and Down where like, I can't take you seriously with your titties hanging out like cabbages
Yeah.
or something like that.
I say that all the time.
I said that too, but I'm all fucked up. And she was so mad. But this is, I mean, if it was a more, this is probably about 10 years ago almost. And also, like nowadays, I'd probably get fired.
Right.
Even for a company like that, it's the culture is different. But back then, like, you just roll your eyes, and it was that's just the way it was. And then I remember we were drinking some more. I kind of sobered up a bit there, and I was talking with people. But then all of a sudden, some of like the vice presidents of the company would order a bunch of shots. So then all of a sudden, I'm back into fucked upness. And then we end up moving from that bar. We move to another bar, and we just bar hop. And it's cold out. It's
Right.
December, and I have to go into work the next morning on Saturday because the team I was on has
That's not
to do
good.
every other Saturdays. And at the time, the job I had, I hated. I
Yeah.
hated what I was doing. It was the hardest sale I've ever had to do. It was miserable. And I had to do it on a Saturday. And I remember I came in, I was so hungover. And I was literally like shaking hungover. Like I had to drive back into the city because I managed to get home, and I drive back into the city for this.
I would have called off.
I couldn't, unfortunately. They would have known because there was no way I could have, because they told us they would do shit like that. Like, hey, you have to show up to work tomorrow, and I see you here tonight. If you're out here partying, you got to come in tomorrow. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
Or like opening day would happen.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, if we see you on opening, if you call off and we find someone catches you going to opening day, we're gonna fire you, type of shit. Like
So dumb.
that's why I was never, for years, I couldn't do any of that stuff. So I just had to come in, and I found every excuse to use the bathroom, to fucking, and it was only like a 5-hour shift,
Right.
but I had to do it. I had to be there the whole. That was one of that and the one time I was like sick doing that job. I had like a fever, and I had to do it. I couldn't call off of it. Like I remember I was trying to sell some woman. We had closed a loan with them. I'm trying to upsell her onto a security system, and I'm just shaking, and I'm sitting there holding my head, nauseous. I'm like, I understand, but I think this really is going to benefit you. I mean, you told me you're worried about people breaking into your home. We could really help you out. And then she's like,
that
I don't
sounds
know.
great.
I got to talk to my husband. No, I understand. But before you do that, let me just ask. What do you think his concerns would be about it? And the problem is I would get these phone calls that would drag on. Like I would rather they just told me they're not interested and hang up on me, and I could take my time, like write the notes, like, oh, they don't want it. But instead they would try to be polite, and I'm just like, please just stop, because I can't stop.
Right.
I can't have to keep talking to you, and I can't do this. Yeah, that job in particular was tough. Like the job, without getting into specifics, the job that you do recently, yes. I have done that hungover as shit.
Yeah.
Like I did that with I was keto, but I fucked up when White Claws were new.
Yeah.
And they have the tall boy White Claws. I bought 3.
I can't drink out the tall boys.
Well,
like the small ones I can drink all day. But when I get a tall boy, like
it's too much.
It's too much.
So what I did is, though, I went out that night, and it was kind of like a double date night kind of thing, and it was like a movie night.
Yes.
And I was like, well, we'll just have some White Claw. I can't drink beer, but I'll have some White Claws. I drank all 3 of them that night. Didn't really get like fucked up or nothing, because it's like essentially it's 6 White Claws, but it was over the course of hours.
Right.
You know. But the problem is the alcohol that's in that is so cheap. It's like malt liquor.
Yeah.
I was fucking nauseous. I remember I was doing the job, but then I was getting called into meetings all day for other shit. And I literally couldn't, and I was trying to hide the thing. But later I had to confess, I'm like, dude, I am going to puke if I don't leave this room. I cannot talk about this right now. I have to stop. It was one of the worst experiences just from fucking White Claws. And last, now granted, I didn't have anything to do, thank God. But last St. Patrick's Day, that one was a rough.
Yeah.
Next 3 days I was hungover.
You called me a homophobic slur on Twitch.
I didn't do that, because that's not allowed. That's fake news. People are sending you false information.
People tell me. That's what people tell me.
I would never break the terms of service on their website. Okay.
So, when everyone gets fucked up on their 21st, right?
Oh yeah.
So I got super fucked up, and to a point where I threw up all over this girl's outside of her car. Mm-hmm. And Dave had to like full Nelson me and walk me up to my door, threw me in, and basically shut the door behind me. And I just fell against the door, crawled upstairs, threw up all over the bathroom, which I didn't know, passed out. Well, I passed out in my room. The next day, my brother wakes me up, and he's like, "You ready to go to the airport? Because we're going to Vegas." So... hungover as fuck, had to go through TSA on the plane, 4 hours to fucking Vegas.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't drink my first beer until like 11, 12 at night, dude. Like I was like miserable. I was like, God damn it, why did I have to do this the night before I fucking get on a plane?
So there was one there's a guy. There's a number of times that I got a little too fucked up at the gathering, or beforehand. Not even partying. So here's the thing: I don't go and get fucked up partying like the attendees do. Okay. It's usually with the people that's working.
Right.
One time in particular, I got more fucked up before I even got there. So I'm going to. So we were hired to do. We had to film wrestling that year, so we didn't need to be there the whole time.
Yeah.
But we were also gonna just pick up like B-roll footage of stuff, which I have. I got to pull out the hard drive again. I found there's a bunch of old footage of shit.
Yeah, I think you told me this, that I would probably recognize some of the guys.
Yeah. So I want to show you those. But because they had, I think one of the Hardys was there that year, and
probably Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Actually,
it was Matt Hardy.
Because I think he's got a better rapport with them.
Yeah.
But Jeff Hardy just got another DUI.
Oh, damn it!
And instead of going to jail, his license is suspended for 10 years.
Wow. Wow. 10 years.
Don't drink and drive.
All right. They just like, listen, you have to stop.
Yes.
You are out of control. We know we're putting you in jail. We can't put you in jail for 10 years for this.
Yeah.
But we'll just take away the license. But so, yeah. So the plan was we got down there for, I think it started on a Wednesday, but we didn't need to get down there till like Thursday.
Yeah.
Because the first day is there's a lot of chaos. So we figured like, okay, here's the plan. It was me and two other guys. They were in the crew. We were like, all right, let's meet up the night before.
Right.
Let's go through all the shit, make sure all the shit works before we pack it all up. And then we will just leave early in the morning.
Right.
So we can get down there at like noon. And then we can kind of get out there in the day and get some B-roll footage, maybe take a break, come back at night, get the night footage and stuff like that. Just to have, just to help out. Because really, we're just there for wrestling, but it's always, when you do those things, you just always want to chip in.
Right.
And somebody can use it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
You never know when it's going to come in handy.
yeah. So we do that, and everything's working, and so we have a few drinks, and then that turns into a few more drinks. That also turns into just a lot of, we'll say,
Cock Davis's?
yeah, a lot of Red Bull,
Yeah.
and things.
It gives you wings.
It does give you wings. So then we just was pretty sleepless, and
Not in Seattle.
no, not in Seattle. And we end up, I don't even make it home to because I had to go back to to the house
Yeah.
to get, I wasn't packed. Well, I was packed, but I didn't have it in the car.
Right.
Because the idea was like meet up, cover this stuff, and then I'll come back. And then we were going to ride together because I got to pass my house
Yeah.
anyway. We don't get moving until 4 in the afternoon the next day. No, it probably was a little earlier than that. It was probably like 2. Because we got down there and it was already fucking night. And that's how I was already hungover before even getting there. And then that was also, I believe, the same year. Because at the time, it was just hanging out. We only had our major work. I mean, it was a lot of work.
Right.
So the main job we were there, it was a bitch. And it's on the night that everyone else, even if you are working, gets to party because it's the last night that they do wrestling. And we have to work. So that's what kind of makes it suck because
Right.
it's like we're in work mode when everyone else is finally like, whew, we're finally can relax. So I was just like, I drank beer back then. I was much heavier. And I would just I bought a case of beer and I would just load up all my cargo short pockets full of beer and I'd walk around drinking. And that was also the year that we were just kind of trolling around, walking around, and because we had all access, we can go wherever
Right.
we wanted. And I was backstage, and there's a comedian, Big J Okerson. You may have seen him on Comedy Central, or whatever. And cool guy, because I ended up I recognized him from like podcasts and stuff, and I seen him backstage. So I go, and I got the drunk confidence.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna go. I don't know this guy. I'm just gonna go talk to him.
Right.
I'm just gonna go, and he's very approachable because we talked for like 20 minutes about I think he had like a roast. He was roasted recently or something. That's like how I broke into the conversation. And we're literally sitting there. I'm fucking shit-faced, drinking beer in the sun all day, and sitting there with this dude just eating fried chicken because they just had a platter of fried chicken for the artists backstage. And we're eating fried chicken, talking about whatever his thing on TV was. And there was a very good year. But then I had to like wrap it up like the last night, and then it was like work mode, and it's like, all right,
So
we gotta no more fun now.
you mentioned like pocketing your beers,
Yeah.
right? So this isn't really like a hangover story, but like we were at a bachelor party.
Yeah.
I believe it was Moose's
Oh, that's right. I remember this.
at Old Shillelagh.
Yeah, that was one of the spots. Yeah, we went to his old Shillelagh. Yeah,
Were you there when I got kicked out?
I was there. I was elsewhere, but there. I was. You were in a different area.
Okay, but you were at this bachelor party.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so
I was.
because I know there was a couple. So
Yeah, because that's That's because someone's dad joined us, but then passed out in the party bus.
Yeah,
the whole time.
was Armageddon there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So this is the same story. So fucking we go to Old Shillelagh downtown, and there's 2 levels, and me and Armageddon are going from one level to the other in like it was like a different stairwell than they had like 2 stairwells, but one wasn't supposed to be for like the public, I don't think.
Yeah.
So we go up this one, and there's a not quite a mini fridge, but not quite a full fridge. Like
Yeah.
it was somewhere like in the middle. So I was like, oh, yeah, I opened it up, and there's a case of fucking beer in there. So I go to Armageddon. I go, dude, like, let's fucking take these beers. So like I'm fucked up. So like I start pocketing all these beers and shit, and I'm like, dude, take some. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get in trouble. Blah blah blah. Like, what are they gonna do? Kick us out? Like,
Yeah, there's a bus waiting for me.
Right.
Like I just go back on the party bus.
right. So a guy comes through this door and sees me with one of the beers in my hands.
Uh-huh.
But I had probably 2 in each pocket, in front pockets, 1 in each of my back pockets. So that's 6, and probably at least 2 in my waistband. And so I only have 1 in my hand though. And he goes, "Hey man, did you just take that beer out of there?"
Yeah.
And I go, like, I'm caught red-handed.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, man, here, my bad, And he's like, dude, I'm going to have to kick you out. I'm like, okay. And he goes, but I'll tell you this. Just go back around the front, pay the cover, and come back in. Because I told him, I was like, well, I'm with the bachelor party. He's like, or maybe he had asked,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
somehow it came up, and I was like, yeah, I'm with them. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'll just tell you, I kicked you out. Just go back around the front, show him your ID, pay the $5 to get back in, and you come back in. I'm like, okay. So I get out, I walk around the building.
Yeah, this is where I ran into you.
Yeah, I come back in, and like Armageddon's telling everyone that I got kicked out.
Yeah.
So I walk back in, I give my $5. We go back in the bar, and everyone's like, Bobby, I thought you got kicked out. I go, well, I did, but he told me to come back in. And I go, here, this is for all of us. And I just start unloading beers, and they're like, what the fuck? I go, that's why I got kicked out. I stole one, and they didn't know I had these fucking 8 or 9 other ones. So it was a good move. Armageddon was a little bitch, though.
He
was
was.
like, if you ever seen American Vandal, he's like Alex Stromboli, little bitch.
He didn't he fall in love with a stripper that night? Wasn't when we went to the strip club?
I mean, he fell in love like every fucking.
That's
like,
true.
Like he
That
would
is
he
true.
would do the thing where he would meet a girl, or like if he went out with us and we knew like a waitress or something, he would be like his first question, is she single? He wouldn't be like, hey, what's your name?
I like that he's so confident that he knows he's got a shot.
right. And I'm like,
Hey.
dude, you look like Grimace.
You know what he looked like? What's his name?
Jason Biggs.
Jason Biggs. Yep. That's what he looked. He looked like a shorter Jason Biggs.
Yeah.
And not famous
And-
or rich.
And birth giving hips. He was
Yeah.
shaped like a pear. Like Grimace.
I think he's married now, though.
He is
happily married.
I went to his wedding, and that was the last time. We were sitting at this table,
Yeah.
and like it's like me, Sam WO, B,
Yeah.
and we did. I did. I drank I drank some Red Bull that night, and I
Yeah.
was feeling good, and so we're sitting there, and all of us at this table are kind of like, first of all, like we're all kind of like, why did we get invited? Mm-hmm. Second of all, we're all at the same table, and like third, we're like me and B were talking about it on the way there, and we mentioned it at the table. We're like, do you think this is the last time we're ever going to see Chris Armageddon? And like everyone was like, yeah, probably. And it's the last time I've ever seen him. Dude, his like you said the Kenny Powers line.
Yeah.
I said that to the bride. And I was like, your titties are huge. Like right in front of Chris. And then there's a video. There might be a video of me and this dude doing like that, like where you catch the girl and like hold her, and like she spreads her hands and you twirl.
Yeah.
Me and this dude did that when we were complete fuck. I went to me and B, and it might have just been me and him. Went to another wedding, like in the same venue, like it was across the hall.
Okay,
and we went there and took shots with people, and they came back with us. And then Armageddon came up to us, and he's like, do you know these people? I was like, no. And then they kicked him out for crashing their wedding. But me and B were the ones that brought him over. I don't know these people.
What a party pooper.
And then we get picked up by B's wife. She dropped us off and picked us up. We were all fucked up, and we get in the car. And they weren't married at the time. Mm-hmm. And B, she had a chocolate milkshake. Mm-hmm. B just grabs it and just throws it out the window, and it was like half gone. And she's like, "What the fuck?" He did it for no reason.
I miss that B. I wish he'd be more destructive. I like when people are drunk and destructive. As long as it's not anything of mine.
Or when you threw the fucking deck of cards at my face and thought it was gonna explode.
Dude, in my head, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a cool visual," because I don't remember. There was something going on. Oh,
Stone Cold's theme song came on.
That's what it was, and I was like, "Oh,
the rattlesnake.
This will be great. We'll make it like a promo." And I picked up a deck of cards, and the idea was I was gonna throw it at you, and in my head it was just gonna like
burst open.
Yeah, burst open in these cards, and it would just but it just slapped you in the face. It was like the whole deck.
Yes, it was like someone punched me in the face. I'm like, thanks, dude. I got so mad.
Yeah, it did not. They stuck together pretty well.
So we go to a strip club, and it might even be the same fucking night. Was Nick there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So we go to the strip club, and this dude's in the NFL at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's got the most money out of all of us. He has this wad of ones, and he crumples them up like you would crumple up a piece of paper, right? He crumples them all up because he's thinking the same thing. When he throws it, it's going to explode. He throws it on the stage and hits some stripper, and it just bounces off her. And then we got kicked out.
I remember. That was that one was a good. I think he even like paid off like one of the bouncers to let one of them in because he was too fucked up. Like one of the people we were with was way too.
It was
fucked.
Moose.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Moose was too fucked up.
Yeah, and he paid to let him come in there, and then that fucking dude. They were like they seized. I don't know about you, but once they figured out it was a bachelor party in there, the strippers just came out like fucking moths to a flame. They were just like, I remember one came up to me and it was basically like, all right, I would appreciate how direct. Unfortunately, I did not take her up on the offer because she was a little
hit.
Yeah, but it was like, here's a menu, and I was like, so what do you want off this menu? And I'm like, I don't want any of that. I'm sorry, I don't.
We got free hot dogs at the traffic light on opening day.
Oh my god, that's right.
We had to kill some time between our
Didn't it get rained out or something? Was that the year that
was the year we went to Brento's instead?
Oh, okay.
But this year we went down. Because we were downtown. We came from downtown because we had a couple hours to kill before trivia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
so we went to the strip club.
Yeah.
And they had free hot dogs.
That's right.
And I was like, this is kind of weird. It was good.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm eating a hot dog at a strip club.
Well, and it was like midday in the week, so they didn't have like...
Yeah, it was like definitely like the B or C squad.
Yeah, for sure.
And the strip club that we're talking about, like the inside looked like I was going to say National Coney Island, but if you're not from Michigan, I don't
it's
think
just a diner. It looks like a diner.
It looks like a diner inside.
And there's no private area.
No.
So if someone
just go to the side.
Yeah. It's very creepy. It's not an upscale place. To say the least.
It's for cucks and voyeur. What is it? Voyeurs?
Yeah, voyeurs, cucks, and then people that
exhibitionists.
People that are just looking to find a freak show.
Well, it's permanent closed.
Is it really?
Yeah, it closed COVID.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's permanent closed.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Todd just sent me our group a Snapchat of like, when you go onto the maps on iPhone, you type in the place and they say the hours. It just says permanently closed, and he screenshot and sent it to us.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Is there like a replacement?
I don't know.
Because that was like the only one kind of
out
like
here.
Yeah, that wasn't unless you go down to 8 Mile. Like
Right.
I wasn't. Because those ones,
Because I've been like not wanting to go, but I would be down if someone would be like, "Hey, do you want to go to strip club tonight?" I'd go. I would go, but I don't want to go down to Detroit.
well, I was talking with somebody recently, and I was like on this kick of like, once I kind of like, there's some things I got to take care of, but I was like, once I get all of this done, I would love to have just like a big party here.
Yeah.
Because
Get strippers.
I was thinking that.
Well, hit up Vincenzo.
Well, that's actually how that's how it came up, because he had come up in the conversation. I was thinking that now, but the problem is there's usually like you got to pool your resources.
Well, I got that, but I also have I still have that girl's number that came to Brento's for the bachelor parties.
Oh, okay.
Like I have her direct number, so like she told me, she's like, don't go through Vincenzo.
Oh, cut you a deal type of thing. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Maybe toward the end of the year, it'll be a nice. It'll be a great Christmas party.
Can we get midgets that we throw?
We could.
I'm sorry, small people or whatever they're called.
Just don't look.
Little
Don't look right at them though. That's the thing.
You got to look at like their forehead.
Yeah, they get wild.
Yeah, but they gossip.
They do gossip. You got to treat them with care. They don't. You don't want them putting the word out there.
Is there one that we can roll out? That's his brother. The bowling ball.
No, there was one. There was one time. Oh, here's another one. Just show up fucked up, and this happened to me a number of times, where I would get fucked up the night before, party, whatever, and I have to do a family event, and it was a big family event, and I remember there was one time I had to drive way out to like Port Huron.
Okay.
For this, it was a big, it was a family member's birthday, like a grandma or something like that. And she liked to have this big brunch. It's a very fancy restaurant on the water. And they do this great brunch buffet, like very high quality food.
Yeah.
They have like seafood items for the lunch portions. Like it's very upscale. And honestly, for being hungover, it was great. But the problem is, I'm not very sociable in those scenarios. Like I'm all like, my anxiety is like to the max, and I can't. It's hard for me to focus.
And then on top of that, if you're like sweating at all, like, just like uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's very just uncomfortable. So I just fucking ate the fuck out of this fancy breakfast food.
Just pieced out.
Basically is what I had to do. I faked an emergency. I was like, I gotta go.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Yeah. But
it's in the card.
but Thanksgiving was another one, because we would go out.
Yeah.
And I used to do 2 Thanksgivings. Like I had 2 parts of the family I would have to go see.
Yeah.
And again, like if I make a commitment, I'll show up late or something. I'll be there.
Right.
Like I'll get there.
You just don't know what condition you're going to get.
Right. And so that was the thing, is I'd show up and then I'd have to like put on like, oh, I'm not. And people would joke around like, oh, you go out drinking? And I'm like, no, not really. And then I'd be like, yeah, I'm feeling miserable.
Yeah.
It's like, can I just get some turkey or something? And
I just take a nap.
Yeah. Like that was always, and I don't know.
See, we used to play football Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah,
and dude,
I don't know how you could do
like,
that.
dude, people were like puking on the field and shit. Like it got rough. Like we'd play at like 8 a.m, and dude, for years everyone showed up after the biggest bar night of the year.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy, because there was no way I would physical activity, and I've got to be up in the morning. Like for me, early Thanksgiving means, hey, dinner's at 1 p.m.
Yeah, that's how ours is. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock.
So, and even then it was a struggle. Like, because what would happen is I'd show up at like 1:30, 1:45, and people would be texting me like, well, we can't eat unless you get here. And I'm like, go ahead and eat. And then I show up, and the food's not even done. And I'm like, why was everyone blowing me up about it? Well, it was almost done. We didn't know when you were going to get here. I was like, who cares? Just eat.
Yeah.
There's not enough for us to all sit at the table at the same time anyway.
The one time
there's like 20 people here.
The one time you wish your family was a bunch of Palombos.
Yeah. Right. God. Yeah, it was like that one, or there was one where I had to go to a communion.
Oh, God.
So I had to
You
sit.
had to go to church.
I went to a church. No, luckily, you just sit there.
Right.
Now it's a Catholic church, so you do have to follow the cues of
Yeah,
like stand, kneel, stand. You
Yeah.
know, do I salute? What do I do? I don't know. Hand on the heart or what? I don't know what's going on.
Are we saying Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah.
Or-
But I remember I got there, and I got there late because I overslept. But it was actually good because I got to sit in the back because everyone else was up front.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't want to be.
You're like 12 pews out.
Yeah. Like,
It's like empty between you and
I sat at the fucking thing, and I had because I had to dress up and all that, so I just
Yeah.
threw a bunch of shit together. I did what I did is, you know how you got to put your hand in the water to fucking do
Yeah.
the cross. Like I remember I dipped my hand in too much,
you just wiped your.
but that's what I ended up doing. I was like, oh, this actually feels really good. The cold water on my face. Put
I'm extra blessed.
put the blessing on me, please.
Can I get more
Yeah.
piece of the body of Christ, please?
No,
need
and then
some-
I was waiting for that wafer. I was like, oh, I was actually looking forward to it. I never and when I used to do the communion as a kid, I wouldn't do the wine because I hated the taste of it.
Yeah, I never did the wine.
But I did the wine on this one. I was like, just something.
Yeah.
This will help me. Just a little taste.
I never took the blood of Christ.
No, I
would always take the body of Christ.
the body. I was more of a body guy myself. But it was just and even today, like today, you watched firsthand as I had to work my way up. I had to I had to cook up some nuggets. I had to have a Red Bull. I'm feeling okay now.
This is becoming a Sunday tradition
It is.
because I'm usually hungover doing the podcast with T, Legends Layover,
Yep.
and then I head here, and I'm still usually either tired or not into it. Today I'm actually feeling okay. I told you I took those 6 random pills,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I feel all right.
But no, this is. I probably have drank more in the last few days than I will until St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day
A couple weeks away.
is I think it's two weeks.
Yep.
At least from
less than 2 weeks.
from the recording of this, yeah. But we got something really cool planned
Yep.
on the stream. So of course,
And
twitch.tv/Melvin Troy.
64 Bits of Love is coming.
Yeah, it is
coming.
It's gonna come.
It's being delayed, but it's coming.
It's coming. Don't worry. There's a lot of things on the table coming up here because there's a lot of things we want to get back to and bring back. And
Melvin's family is waiting for him to come over because he's hungover.
Yeah.
So the things on the table cannot be cooked yet
Yeah.
until he wakes up
yeah.
and gets rid of this hangover.
But yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot of cool stuff planned. That's all I can tell you. I don't want to over promise, under deliver, or vice versa.
Yep.
I would rather under promise you. So don't expect nothing, and you're going to be blown away then.
Right.
You're going to be blown away.
That's my motto in life. Don't
Yeah.
expect nothing.
Yep. Don't expect
Anything.
nothing.
Don't expect nothing or
Yep.
anything.
Nothing.
Okay, that's a double negative. So you're expecting something.
Well, that's that. I think that's yeah. Maybe you should expect something.
The way your hoodie is, it almost
Yeah.
looks like a Samoa Joe towel.
Oh, with the white on the inside,
Yes.
just
I
hanging
kept
around my
looking.
neck.
I'm like, are you part of the project?
This is one of my. I haven't done. I have a giant pile of laundry, so now I'm wearing my own merch at this point. Just to
Well,
kinda,
at least you got your mask here.
I don't know where that came from.
But anyway, probably until next time.
Yep.
Follow us on social media. If you need something else to listen to the Legends Layover. We just did episode 7, I believe.
Nice.
So that's climbing. This is episode, 73? So
Something like that, yeah.
If you need something to listen to, go back in the archives. Check us out. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends' friends. Tell your friends' 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 friends.
Tell them all.
Tell them all. Tell your family.
Tell them. You just fucking.
If our friends don't got dough, their friends got dough.
Yeah.
And if they don't got dough, their friends got dough.
Yeah.
Invite all the hoes. And we mean that in a good way.
Just fucking tell them. Just tell them, like, what are you doing with your life
Yeah.
right now?
Soldier Boy, tell them.
Get off your ass. What are you just sitting on the couch? Get off your ass.
What are you,
Make
the
something yourself.
What are you, the Everest Institute guy?
Yeah, yes. I'm going to take the Everest approach. Get off your ass.
Get off your ass and do something with your life.
Yeah, listen to the podcast.
What?
Watch the streams.
What are you doing? Watching Days of Our Lives?
Yeah, come on. Quit being a loser.
That guy was mean.
He